Hi, welcome to the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program Workshop. We are going to learn in the next 7 days how to become better individuals. And let me tell you, this program works. If none of you are familiar with it, some of you are, I see familiar faces, but if some of you do not know about the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program, it works. It is working in schools. It is working in prisons. And I have been following this program for, I want to say, between 5 to 10 years. And it has made such a difference in how I can relate to my coworkers, to my supervisor, and to my family. And I think we all know that each and every one of us want that, not only for ourselves, but for the world. Okay? I'm going to be teaching from the Peaceful Solution Character Education booklet, the Character Unit. And today a couple of things that I want to follow, or I want to go by, is I want to explain the difference between personality and character. And then we're going to get into moral values, and then we're going to focus on positive character traits. I'm going to be starting on Chapter 1 of the booklet, and it is on page 3. Character is what helps each and every person to determine what is right and what is wrong. A person's character consists of patterns of behavior that are considered either positive or negative. Now I'm going to go back to page 25, because we're going to talk about character versus personality. How many of you really know the difference between personality and character? Anybody? Yes.
Character as in being negative, personality.
That's a great.
Freaky because you don't know their character.
That's a great point. That's an excellent point. Did everybody hear her? Okay, she said character is as in being. What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Negative.
Negative. Yes, negative. On the bottom of page 25, on the bottom of page 23 in the same booklet, there are some personality traits. Talkative, outgoing, humorous, quiet, sloppy, serious, lazy, shy, thoughtful, boring, friendly, sarcastic, quiet. These are just some of the personality traits. Now, I don't know, I'm sure each of you can relate to the fact that I have a sister who's 3 years older than I am. And believe you me, our personalities are nothing alike. Nothing. I am very outgoing. I am very loud. Sometimes I have to tone it down because I know I'm too loud. I like people. Now my sister, on the other hand, she's very quiet. She's very reserved. She does not talk much. And when we were growing up, a lot of people actually thought that she was snotty. They thought that she was stuck up and snobbish. But she wasn't. It was just the fact that people had to get to know her. And that's just the difference in personalities. I have 2 children. Any of you who are parents? Two children, and their personalities are no way alike. And what works with one on discipline does not work with the other one. Does not work with the other one. So personality and character are 2 different things. Our personalities can also be formed from our influences, because we receive personality from our parents, who receive personality from their parents sometimes. It's made up like genetics. And our character and our personality can be changed, unlike our genetics, such as our eye color, our hair color, our skin color. We can't do anything about that. Well, we can dye our hair, but we can't do anything about, what we are born with. But we can change our character, and we can change our character into positive character traits. We receive positive character traits and we can receive negative character traits by our environment, okay? We can receive those from teachers. We can receive it from people that we run around with, such as our friends or our acquaintances. And sometimes we think, oh, you know, I really like that person because she likes all the same things I like. But you have to be careful because a lot of times those people don't have the same traits, the positive character traits. You know, you really have to, I want to say, be on guard a little bit because you may get along great. You may like to do the same things, but that person may want to make fun of somebody, may want to go into a store and shoplift. You know, they may bully. There's different things that they might do that you know, hey, I don't want to be like that. I don't like that particular character trait that that person has. So sometimes it's hard, but you either can, number one, teach them. Try to teach them. Or you may have to sever that relationship. You may just have to say, you know, I don't want to hang out with that person anymore. I really don't like the way they act. I don't like the way that they treat people. And that's okay. You want to have a positive character trait. We're going to talk a little bit today about morals and values. Values are what you believe in or feel strongly about, and they play a key role in developing your character. As you mature and grow, your parents share their values with you, as I mentioned previously, and the things that they care about and consider are important, and you begin to feel that those are important to you. Family members, babysitters, teachers, and others help to shape your character. There are different types of values, as there are people. And no two people are alike, not even members of the same family. Just like my sisters and my personalities weren't alike, sometimes our values aren't the same. Some people value a college education, and some a trade or career. Others value staying at home and raising a family, and some value sports while others value art. Here we go with morals. What do they have to do with my character? Okay, each and every one of us at one time in our life had a choice to make. A right choice, a wrong choice. Now, I personally, over the years, as I have matured, I won't say getting older, I will say matured, I have learned from those experiences. You know, I made wrong choices. I did things that I wasn't pleased with, that I didn't like after I did them. And sometimes I knew about it right away. Sometimes it took a while to realize that, you know what, that wasn't the right thing I should have done. I should have picked the other way. We can define morality in three basic categories: behavior and attitude towards all life, human, animal, and plant. And we'll go over that one a little bit. If you value all life, you respect other people's lives, whether it is an animal, a human being, or a plant. You know, I remember as a little girl, my grandmother, I was at my grandmother's. I stayed with my grandmother a lot. And I remember she had a porch, and she had like a little step on the porch, and she had two beautiful evergreen bushes on the other side of the porch. And I remember one day, I don't know, I wasn't very old. I was probably, 5. I mean, I could remember it, so I was probably 5, maybe 6. And I remember walking outside, and I remember I tugged on the evergreen branch. You know, I don't know why. I just thought it was fun. I don't know. Thought it was a thing to do. And my grandma said to me, "Don't do that, Karen." And I kind of looked at her like, well, why? I mean, disrespectful that I was. And I said, well, why, Grandma? And she goes, because that plant is alive. That plant has feelings. And if you tug on that, you could hurt it. And I never looked at plants the same again. I thought, you're right, that, they're there for a reason. They have life too. Just like animals. We may not like the job they do. We may not like them. I'm not crazy about snakes. I'm not crazy about spiders. I'm not crazy about some other things. But I have realized that there are some really beneficial spiders. They're called these Charlie spiders. And I used to think that they were like the most hideous things in the world because they'd have like this big black, they were black and they had like this big red dot on them or this big white dot on them or something. And a very dear friend of mine once explained to me, oh, no. You want those spiders in your house. And I said, what? She goes, oh, no. She goes, you want them in your house. They eat the flies. And I thought, okay, this won't be so bad. I might keep them in there. I might not, But they do. Every living animal on this earth has a purpose. And every human being has a right to be on this earth. I know that there are terrible things that people do, but they don't know any better. They haven't been taught. They have not picked up this book. And they have not learned the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. How many of you are just so saddened when you turn on the news or you pick up a newspaper and all you see or all you hear about are murders, rape, abuse? I just want to cry. And it just becomes more and more prevalent as we continue. Society is just gone downhill. And that's because there's no morals. That's because there's no positive character traits. That's because we don't know this. And it's here. It's here. I can't tell you, about 3 weeks ago in my hometown, there was a kid, a freshman in high school, and he brought a gun to school. 3 weeks into the school year. It was 3 weeks, and he was considered different. He was being made fun of by the other students. So here's a form of bullying. But he did not feel that there was any other choice but to take a gun into that school and fire shots. Now, thankfully, nobody was hurt because the teacher subdued him. But what about that shooting, the one with the movie theater? What about that? That person went into a movie theater and killed, 15 or so people? Injured people? And what I thought was ironic is, and this shows how our society, we are so desensitized by the television set. We are so desensitized by, and it is, as I mentioned, like the newscasts. The newscasts, they really don't even have any emotion in their voices anymore when they broadcast these terrible things. It's just kind of like, oh, it's common day practice. It's no big deal. Somebody shot somebody again. Okay, But back to that movie theater shooting. The newscaster that was showing the clipping of that, they were interviewing a person who was in the movie theater and who said, oh, I cannot believe it. I can't believe that somebody would do this. This was horrendous. This is the most horrific thing I've ever gone through in my life. And the newscaster said, not to them, but afterwards said, but that's what he was going in to see.
That's right.
That's what he was going in to watch.
That's right.
Because that's what that movie was about. That movie was about just killing people. So that's why we have to be so careful. But we have to, we just have to stay focused on positive traits. Another morality category is behavior and attitude towards possession and property. Okay. We all have possessions. We all have property. How do you feel when somebody comes up and takes something of yours without permission? I mean, that's stealing. You know, they come up, they take it. They have no regard whatsoever. The fact that that was yours. Maybe you worked hard. Maybe you went out and got a second job so that you could have that object that you really, really wanted. And that person came and that person took that away from you. You know, you feel hurt, you feel betrayed. Another category, behavior and attitude towards the environment. We have to take care of our environment. How many of you drive down the road and there's garbage?
Yeah.
You know, there's garbage all along. Everybody just thinks that they think it's a dump. You know, I get so tired of just, I work in a small office building, and every morning I come in, and there's, people have just, because, a sad fact, we have restaurants that are like on both sides of us. So, of course, they've gone to the restaurants, they've eaten, and they just walk across our parking lot, and they just decide when they're done with, whatever they've eaten, they're just going to throw it in our parking lot, throw it on our sidewalks, And it's just, we have to be respectful and we have to take care of our environment as well. Okay. Moving along to, we're going to talk today about positive character traits. And before the class began, I handed out some positive character traits. So we are going to, and if anyone has a comment afterwards, you're welcome to show an example, not only the person who I'll call upon, but if you would like to just briefly discuss, like an example or give a story, that'd be great. If you don't, that's fine too, because I'll have a story, Okay, the first one, positive character trait, educated. Please.
Educated. Getting all the facts and making sure they are correct before making a decision. And this is so true. There are many teachers out there for us to grab hold of. So we really need to have the right teacher to get the right facts, because a decision that we make could be devastating to us and everybody else.
Thank you very much. Okay, and I'm going to just put these up here. Okay, another thing I want to mention about educated. So many people think that educated is the number of years that you go to school, that you go to college, or the number of degrees that you have up on your wall. Well, educated, getting all the facts. Because how many of us have heard there's three sides to every story?
Yeah.
Yes. There's Sally's, there's Susie's, and there's the truth.
Yeah.
Right? Right. So being educated does not necessarily mean that you have to have years and years and years of education. It means that you have to have the facts. You have to know how to judge on that particular situation. Just like when you have children, or just like if you have to be in the position where you know two people who are arguing about something, and they maybe come to you and say, okay, can you solve this for me? And then one person will start to say, this is what occurred, blah, 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 blah. And then the other person will say, no, this is what occurred, blah, 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 blah. How do you make an educated decision on that? Because you still didn't witness it, so you don't have the truth. Yes?
You have to find somebody who did witness it, but they're impartial. They're not for either side.
Right. Did everybody hear that? You have to have somebody who witnessed it and is impartial. Great. Okay. The second positive character trait is respectful.
Respectful. To value others as important as yourself, and to allow that to show through your actions and attitudes. When I first saw that, I thought about growing up as a child. and my parents taught, you respect your authority. Don't talk back to your parents, don't talk back to your grandparents, your teachers. But as I grow up, I also see when you go to work, it means the same thing.
Right.
Driving down the street, the lights are there, we need to respect them because I witnessed accidents. So it goes a lot further than just people interaction or people you know.
Right. Thank you. You know, respect, that's one of the biggest things and here we go, I'm going to talk about commercials again. But I am so frustrated with, here again, the television set. Because if any of you have seen on the television set, there is no respect. There's supposedly their wife and husband, and the man makes her husband out to look like a complete and total fool with whatever he's saying or doing. You know? Or the husband will do the same thing. He will make her out to look like a fool and no respect. I've seen it where they have children on there. You know? Especially with the new technology, with all of the iPhones and the iPads and the whatever, they will, they'll like look at their parents like, Mom, that's disrespectful. And if you treat people with respect, like I said, they will turn around and they will respect you. And it's a trickle effect. You treat them with respect, they will treat others with respect, they will treat those people will treat others with respect. So it continues to roll, and it just continues to help people get along. Okay, number 3, patient.
Demonstrating self-control and remaining calm through setbacks.
Demonstrating self-control and remaining calm through setbacks. Oh, that's a great one. That's a little hard, but we can do it. We have to learn to be patient. We have to learn that, you know what, maybe it didn't go my way. Maybe I didn't want it, I didn't want it to turn out that way. But you have to be patient. You have to just give it time, learn from it, and go on. Okay. Number 4. Honest and trustworthy.
Being fair, sincere, and straightforward. And with this here, I would say, if you have a friend and they ask you maybe, how do I look? How my dress fits me? Be honest and tell them maybe it's a little bit too close. Because some people not wanting to hurt their friends' feelings, say, oh, it looked great, but then when they go outside, it's not the way it's supposed to be.
That's a great example. Did everybody hear that? Yeah. Sometimes it's hard to be honest. Because you don't want to hurt their feelings. You don't, you don't want somebody to hurt your feelings either. So that is. But how many times do you have an experience where somebody was not honest or trustworthy to you? Do you want to associate with them anymore? No, you really don't want to. Okay, number 5, humble.
Not being proud or arrogant. Not being big-headed at times.
There you go.
Not being prideful.
That's right. Not being prideful. Not being arrogant. We have to be humble. You know what? I don't want to do that job. I don't want to, but you do it. You humble yourselves because how else is it going to get done? We have a janitor at work. Once in a while. Doesn't come in very often. Okay? Just telling you. Guess who gathered all the garbage bags the other day? 27 of them. Yeah. Because you know what? Wasn't going to get done. And so what? I want a clean garbage can. It was fine. All right. Next one. Thankful.
To be conscious of the benefits that you have received. So we need to be thankful for all that we have and always be positive and not negative.
Thank you. Yes. Yes. But we always have to stay positive and we always have to be thankful. Because you know what? Even if we don't live in the biggest house or drive the newest car or have the fanciest clothes, you've got, a roof over your head, you've got transportation, and you know what? You're not running around naked. So, think about that. All right, next, forgiving.
To refrain from holding anger or resentment towards someone who has wronged you. With that one, it's like if somebody comes up and just smacks you in the face, just turn the other cheek and walk away because they don't know what they're doing. You have to be able to forgive them, and they'll come back to you later and go, wow, you didn't retaliate. You did an awesome job. You taught me how to forgive.
That's a great point. Yes. And people will remember forgiveness a lot quicker and a lot longer than they remember not forgiving. Because how many times have you heard about people who have been upset with someone because somebody did something to them that they didn't like, and after a while they can't even remember what that was, but I don't like that person because boy, that person wronged me at one time, but they have no idea what it was about. So we need to forgive because it takes up too much energy to be upset than it does to just forgive and go on. All right. Next, steadfast and persistent.
You are determined not to give up or change what you have set out to accomplish. It will be so great after this beautiful class that we all set our mind determined to be at peace with each other. We will begin to change our household, our neighborhood, and maybe the world.
Great. Thank you for that. She said that after this class we need to go out and we need to be peaceful because it will help our household and the whole world. And that's very true. Awesome. Okay, and my last positive character trait, self-control.
Now, yielding to your impulses, thoughts, and action. I think the stop often will work great with this, with your thought and action. It will work if you work it.
That's right. Did you hear that? The Peaceful Solution Character Education Program has a STOP acronym that they use. Stop, think about your options, and proceed. And you can make the right choice every single time. You just have to stop and think. And with that, ladies, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your participation. And I thank you for this opportunity to present to you the Peaceful Solution Character Education Program. And like I said, it works. It has changed my life. I know it has changed, as I said, children, and it has changed prisons, people who are in prison. So thank you very much.